Hey Aquarius, welcome to Catalyst Energies and welcome to your weekly astrology forecast for the week of December 26th, 2021 to our first official new moon of the 2022, which will be happening in Capricorn on January 2nd, 2022. So welcome everyone. Thanks for being here. I'm really grateful that you're here. So we're just going to go into the general details here, Aquarius. We're looking at there is just some incredible transits that are happening. We haven't even gotten to the third quarter moon yet, which is on the 26th. The 24th and 25th of December are jam-packed with very, very strong astrological aspects. So we're actually going to start there and unpack it just a little bit. You can get more information and more in-depth information about the actual transits themselves in the astrology report that you can either access on this page or on this platform for the same week. It's just going to go into a lot more detail about the transits themselves. So this is just to show what areas of life that they're going to be influencing and having an impact most likely. So Aquarius, first we're going to start right, the moon in Leo has not done us any favors, I'm pretty sure. It's just been such a the minute you get involved in any type of binding agreement, a relationship, even just going out into the world, there has been a very, very powerful, very egocentric feeling of it's all about me. And the thing about Aquarius people is that is where it comes out, is in your one-on-one interpersonal binding agreements and relationships. And so it helps to have very synergistic relationships in that way because of the Leo in the 7th house. So we have Saturn in the 1st house, really anchoring into the very nature of Aquarius, the persona of Aquarius that's going to be in a square, as you can see, to Uranus. This is happening on the 24th. What's also happening on the 24th is this opposition, actually, with Jupiter at the very last degree of Aquarius and the moon at the very last degree of Leo. That's part of a grand square with the nodal axis of the moon as well. So this grand square, man, this is just, something will be unsealed within each of us and in our emotional landscape, in our intuition, in our feelings, in the feels, absolutely. Something unsealed. That is the last degree of Leo. Nothing can be kept from the world at large. It's not meant to. And so secrets come out. Just expression has to find its way to the surface. Even if it's within our own self and not making its way out, it's still something unsealed and has a lot to do with the nature of who Aquarius is in their relationships. So, Jupiter, once Jupiter moves into the 2nd house, it's going to be a sigh of relief for everyone, but in particular for Aquarius, into the world around Aquarius, the objective reality, the assets, currency. The realm of the 2nd house is your resources. What is yours to utilize? And that goes from financial to energetic to ancestral to genetic, right? These are all of the things that make up the world around us and the medium in which we are embedded. So Neptune has, been here for a long time for Aquarius, and recently going direct. It is just in some ways it is a solvent, and the physical material resource world has become even more watery. It has become even more boundaryless. It has become even so much more dissolved into one unified experience that it can be very difficult to when you're used to resources being in a certain way, and then things start to dissolve down into even more base parts, it can be very difficult to know what those resources are. And so when Jupiter gets here into this realm, I mean, managing those assets is going to skyrocket. Now, Jupiter does rule the 11th house. This is where Mars is right now. And this is another Christmas Day transit. Mars, in conjunction with Antares, is going to trine Chiron. And so for the Aquarius person, we got this spiritual or this social justice warrior energy with Mars in the 11th, right? A real strong drive and courage in a lot of ways, and certainly really backed up by a lot of the meaning of the social organism as a whole, and really wanting to fight for it, really want to fight on our own behalf. But this trine will be, well, first of all, it'll be Mars in conjunction with Antares, the heart of the Scorpion. And so Aquarius, with this trine to Chiron that's now direct in the 3rd house, in the realm of the mind, empirical data, reasoning, logic, learning, communication. This is the realm of your how you conceptualize reality, how you are, the way that you talk to people, the way that you listen, your texting, your phone calls, your chats, your DMs, your emails, right? It is all of those things as a function of your cognitive abilities and your ability to learn. This has been the biggest sticking point for Aquarius people in terms of trauma, inner child wounding, right? Because it's the victim mentality is impacting how we actually function neurologically with the world around us. Something continues to draw us back into old identities of shame and guilt when it comes to our immediate, in the way that we even think, right? Which is really unfortunate for an Aquarian person, because the genius and the absolute, innovative, futuristic, outside of the box, revolutionary aspect of the Aquarius person needs freedom of the mind and the freedom to be exactly what it wants to be in any given moment. And this Chiron energy has been really stifling, I think, the mind and the cognitive functioning for the Aquarian person because of these overlays of trauma and inner wounding. So when Mars comes along and is in a trine to it, this is an incredible moment, because there are aspects of the social organism that the truth of it is going to come through very forcefully with Mars into the house that Mars rules, and be like, bam, like, here's the truth, here's the sting, here is the very nature of the power dynamics in the entire society, and it's going to release Aquarius from this spell of the mind, because Aquarian people really need freedom of their mind at every given turn. And Aries is about having the freedom to actualize one's potential very purely, right? And so there has certainly been a shame and a guilt for being ourselves. I have an Aquarius rising as well, so this is very applicable to me as well. So I'll use, say we a lot in this particular report. So this is Christmas Day. Venus is in her retrograde. She's going to meet Pluto again on Christmas Day in the 12th house. And now the Sun is here and Mercury's here. And so Aquarius, there is a lot of transformation at a karmic level, at a transcendental level, the ending, right? There is serious clearing up of karma and tying up of loose ends. And with Venus involved, the meaning of this realm for Aquarius, the meaning that is ascribed to the transcendental experience, to dreams, to spirituality, to compassion and forgiveness. There's a lot here that is being offered back to Pluto. That was a weird Freudian slip. Offered back to Pluto in order to release and transform it. And this is like the body. And if you look at what Venus rules for the Aquarius, it rules the 4th house of Taurus, which is where Uranus is. And it rules Libra, which is where the 3rd quarter moon is going to be. So Venus is very relevant in many ways to what's happening now, but in these areas of the inner life and also the realm of meaning and understanding and broadening our horizons religiously and culturally and metaphysically as well. So there is a lot that Venus is offering up to be released in the realm of the quantum experience and the past, right? And karma. Lots of karma, because these areas have to be cleared out for when Pluto comes into Aquarius, and Aquarius people are about to go through the biggest overhaul and transformation of their very selves that they've ever experienced. So in the meantime, 12th house energy is, a lot of this might be happening in isolation, in the dream state, in meditation, and Mercury being here, especially right now in conjunction with Vega, a lot of Lyran activity in this realm, right? The multidimensional realm and the quantum field and the Akash, right? There's just so much happening here for Aquarius, because these are the people that are going through a spiritual transformation, because then they're going to go through a transformation of their very self when Pluto comes into Aquarius in 2024. So, which at that point, Aquarius will be the model for what the entire world is experiencing at a fundamentally subjective level. So, fun times. Can't wait. It's going to be total political anarchy, I'm sure. Anyway, so what else? We have Mars, we have Venus. Okay, and then here we go. Saturn in the 1st house is also on the 24th in a square to Uranus. These two titans, man, when they meet, they shake the earth. And so Saturn has been pretty staunchly planted in the 1st house of identity for Aquarius. And, a lot of times this can be so staunchly embedded that we, it's my way or the highway type of energy. For Aquarius, in terms of transiting the 1st house, I think that this is an important thing to be having right now. And Jupiter has been here, for many, many months and is about to leave the 1st house and again move into that 2nd house that we talked about. So that's part of the grand square here that is with the moon in Leo at the very last degree of Leo and Jupiter at the very last degree. Aquarius has done a lot of work on themselves, and at the same time there's a very significant backbone into the very identity, to the point where there's no budging with Aquarius, right? And so sometimes this can be really off-putting, but it's a good thing that, Aquarius is the type of person that loves humanity but really hates humans. And that really fares actually very well with a 7th house Leo, because when you're in a binding contract or relationship, what comes out of you is that I'm the center. This is about me, right? And so this is why it's so difficult for Aquarian people sometimes to be in interpersonal, feeling-based relationships. It's not difficult, but it can be. You can almost seem robotic. And with Saturn here, the hardware is firmly planted. So when it's up against what rules this chart, which is Uranus, in the 4th house of where we draw our personal power, of our inner life, our intimacy, our home and family, and our root system, if we are not allowing for the opportunity to maybe scroll through many options of where we belong emotionally, and who we're faithful to, who we're loyal to, our intimate personal life, our inner life, if we are not allowing, especially Aquarius, this rules the chart, Uranus. And so if we are not making space or allowing for this in a very conscious way, and to accept that when Uranus is in the 4th house, the destabilization of the home and family, or the concept of where we came from and where we belong, if we don't allow for that to actually be an asset to change our perspective, to innovate, to revolutionize, to be challenged, to see things in a different perspective. If we don't allow ourselves the opportunity to at least internalize that experience in the fourth house, Saturn in the first, you know what I mean? Like, it will find its way, especially for Aquarian people. And it may be kind of, over the holidays like this, it certainly could lead to some very just erratic behavior, or, you know, the foundations of our very emotional security being shook because we are not allowing for any flexibility in our actual persona at all. But the other side of that is that it's so anchored into who we are that it actually could allow for this variability, this instability in the inner realm, so that we have the opportunity to innovate and to change and to revolutionize where we gather our strength from and our real power. Because the nodes are about to shift into the 4th and 10th house for Aquarius. And this is, you know, the draw towards the 4th house, to the Pleiadian revival and the realm of personal inner power. We're going to be driven to it. And so having the ability to do the Aquarian thing, which is to, you know, blip out, to go through the Stargate, to transcend the material aspect, to open the third eye in some ways, is really, really important. So if we are too entrenched in and too bitter about it, I mean, I can speak personally from this, like, just being jaded as hell, and be very like, nope, this is just how it's going to be. It will find its way. And especially for Aquarian people, it will definitely find its way. So again, the advice I'm giving to everybody is just lighten up with this transit. Lighten up. It's the holidays. Even if you don't celebrate it, it's always like this at this time of year. This square is going to literally shake the planet anyway. And so we can resonate and align with it as opposed to resist it. It's already a square. It's already providing resistance very naturally. So just lean into it and be like, wow, that's really uncomfortable. What can I learn from this situation? And go with it, rather than fighting it, because it's going to, you know, something might actually break. And it may be ourselves, and it may be our sense of emotional security. And that's not a good thing right now. That's definitely not a good thing, especially when we're about to unseal within ourselves, like something something that cannot be contained anymore in terms of who we are in our relationships. And I think Jupiter, like I said earlier, when it comes into the 2nd house, is just going to be you're going to have a good manager in the realm of a realm that is, you can make anything from anything. That's the thing about Aquarius people, that makes us really essential to like where we're going in the future, which is the age of Aquarius, is that the world around us is the vibratory field, and Aquarian people are already set up to function with that. And so when Jupiter gets here, who rules Pisces as well as Sagittarius, it's going to be like, I can take the meaning of the social order, which the 11th house is the Aquarian house. I can take that meaning, and expand within that meaning in order to make the best use of what's around me, right? You can find yourself. There's a really good example. I mean, honestly, Aquarian people can manifest anything, because the entire objective reality that we find ourselves embedded in is nothing more than the Akashic field. It is the sea of consciousness, and it is the vibratory field that everything, it's source. Everything is source. Everything is God. Everything comes from the Great Spirit. And Aquarian people, that is the medium of reality for us. And so anything can come from there. And I mean anything. So it's also important, with Neptune being here, that we have been very on point about this, and where you know, being very masterful in some ways of this realm, and not getting drowning or getting lost in the fog or being taken over by the world, right? That's a very easy thing to do. I can definitely tell you that since Neptune is stationed direct, I mean, the hopelessness and the feeling of defeat in the world around me and the objective reality has been very strong. And we've had to kind of up our game around that too. You leave yourself open to so many influences in the actual objective reality and in your own body, in your own lineage, right? Your traditions, and certainly in your energetic resources. So I think Jupiter coming in is just going to be such a, is going to manage these resources through meaning, right? And advocacy and representation. And it's going to come, I think, you know, specifically from the realm of, well, it rules both of these houses, right? So it's going to come into its house of rulership for all of us, right? And so it's just going to expand. It's going to be a very strong potential of a expansion of resources in a way that maybe we haven't had since the last time Jupiter came into Pisces. So, but it's also going to be intimately connected with what is happening up here in the social order in general, because Jupiter also rules this realm. So we got Venus and Pluto, we have Saturn and Uranus, we have Mars and Chiron, and we have the Moon and Jupiter in this opposition with this grand square that's with the nodal axis. We know that the nodes are now shifting from the 5th and 11th into the 4th and 10th. So, you know, the draw for Aquarius for the last 18 months in Gemini has been that the realm of expression and research and learning and discovery is really where the Aquarius person finds their most authentic expression, is in the communication and is in the research and the learning, right? I know for me, I mean, just the writing and producing content and just thinking and researching and gathering data is a big part of the Aquarian's authentic expression of self, where Aquarian people find their joy is somewhere in this, and it's about to shift, right? It's about to shift into a realm that has much more to do with power, much more to do with the inner life, much more to do with the root system. And so letting Aquarius be Aquarius in this realm has been very important. And Aquarius people Uranus. Aquarius people are very comfortable with Uranus in this area, or with Uranus in general, because this rules the chart. And so it's not been as difficult, I think, for us in terms of a destabilizing or very erratic, a sense of where we belong has changed a lot. Right? Where is our faithfulness? Where's our loyalty? That's been a big one, right? Where do we belong? Like, what are the customs and heritage and tight familial bonds that really hold us? Where are they? What are they? And they've been so erratic and up in the air and changing, and we are literally scrolling through all the possibilities that, I can, you know, the fact that Saturn is so staunchly in the realm of who we are is gonna create a real problem here, and we have to be beyond flexible, which is what Jupiter coming into a Pisces second house, right? It's just gonna be like, take a deep breath, take a sigh of relief, and relax. I got this. I'm gonna help you manage all of these resources, right? And that's what you can focus on right now, instead of getting so caught up in this particular dynamic of this square. So when we go to the actual, third quarter moon, and then into, here, we'll do this first. The third quarter moon is going to be the moon in the 12th house, sun in the 12th house, and the moon will be in the 9th house of Libra. So let's move that up a couple hours here, and then I'll make sure everything is centered where it needs to be. Here we go. So There we go, guys. Can you see that? Yes. All right. So the moon will be in the 9th house. This is belief systems. This is religion. This is dogma. This is philosophy. This is meaning. This is understanding. This is the realm of alchemical transmutation, because this is the realm of broadening our understanding. Excuse me. So while in this, there will be a very thorough nature in terms of the spiritual ending of things, right? The karmic clearing away that we are really finding currently. Our voice and sustainment and is really lighting up this area for Aquarius is in the transcendental, in the metaphysical, in the spiritual, right? Compassion, forgiveness, but really about the karma, I think, for Aquarius. A lot has to be cleared out of this realm before Pluto moves into Aquarius. And Saturn here, Jupiter here, it's all providence, right? It's all been set up. Or it seems like it, right? That it would be setting the stage for these very profound transformations. But the tension here with this 3rd quarter moon, or this crisis in consciousness, is that we're going to be feeling into how important it is to be able to visualize. We're going to be feeling into the need to visualize where it is, to visualize what we want to create in some sort of social setting, right? In Libra, we have to be able to see it in our mind's eye. And our belief systems and the meaning that we ascribe to reality here, and the meaning that we're operating under, the collective value system that we are operating and creating from, is going to reflect back to us in this square. Like, you know, it's one thing that we're finding our expression and our sustainment in, like, a very thorough and practical and methodical process in the spiritual realm, which is important. We want to make sure that it's all done right and that we don't leave anything unresolved. But we're going to already start feeling such a strong inclination, I think, to be able to visualize the next, visualize what it is we actually believe, right? And to visualize the meaning and visualize what we want to eventually create, but certainly visualize and reflecting it back from the collective. It's not just about us with the moon in the 9th house. We will, it'll show in terms of the collective belief system and the social organism as a whole. Well, that's more the 11th house, but certainly in the dogmas, in the spirit of the law, all these 9th house, higher learning and larger, broader travel, the metaphysical travel. The moon's going to reflect back to us this feeling and this drive in some ways, and it might not even be ours, but we'll still feel it of the collective to start visualizing where we want to go, right? Whereas the Aquarian person is like really focused in their own sustainment and their own expression on clearing up the karma, no stone left unturned, no karmic tie left behind. It all needs to be dealt with. And you're going to feel that tension as we go through this process. And then when we get to the next week, which is the new moon, right? The new moon in Capricorn, which is in the 12th house. Baby, let it burn. That is the theme of this new moon. Let it burn, let it burn, let it burn. And realize that the burning is purifying, that it is purifying, it is transmuting, right? It represents the seamless transition and the transcendence of life and death and rebirth, because fire simultaneously represents those things at once, which is the death part comes from the consumption of resources in order to create the fire, but the fire is the rebirth, right? So we're all going to be in this position at this new moon, the first new moon of 2022, where we are going to set intentions around our own personal growth over that month, to let it burn. Let it burn, and to honor the burn, and to allow it to be a symbol of what we're aspiring to, which is to transcend the material aspect in our spirit. And specifically for Aquarius, it's going to be in the realm of the spirit and the realm of the collective karma. Let it burn. Let it burn. And that's going to be something that unfolds over the whole month up until the next new moon in February, and is very much related to, as well, to the fact that the solar eclipse also about purification of the previous cycle before we move into another one in the actual social organism as a whole. So that's drawn out over a longer period of time, and the more immediate personalized experience with the lunation or the lunar cycle is going to be more in the metaphysical and spiritual realm, and just letting it burn. Let it burn. And you'll see that Mercury now will have moved into the first house, and the mind and the mental energy is going to start really focusing on the why of who we are rather than just accepting who we are, right? Saturn is just like, just accept who you are. That's just all there is to it. There's no getting over, under, around. It just is what it is, and it's the authority on the issue. Mercury comes into the first house at this new moon and is like, time to start really thinking about it. And this comes directly, I think, from releasing a lot of the identity and trauma in the realm of the mind and the cognition and the neurological pathways. Once that starts to really be let go of, I have a feeling that this time with Mercury in Aquarius, and it's going to go retrograde, go back into Capricorn, we're really going to be thinking very consistently about who we are, why we are, and understanding ourselves, right? Understanding ourselves. And this is going to be an important journey for Aquarius people. So I'm going to leave it there. We're right at a half hour. I think that's plenty of information to work with, my friends. So if you are interested in a personal reading, get more information, support this work through Subscribestar. This is really important, guys. I hate to be, trying to push this, but we all know this. We all know the story here. Like, this is a lot of work to make this content, and I love it so much, and I want to provide it, but I need to, it needs to be an energy exchange for me to continue to do it at this level. So please consider supporting me on Subscribestar. It's only $3 a month, and I have the opportunity to reach so many people through that. But if you're interested in a personal reading too, you can do that as well. And everything that you need is in the description box below, and it's certainly is going to be at the end of this video. There'll be some more information for you. So with that, Aquarius, have a great weekend. Have a great holiday, however you celebrate it. And we'll check in before the full moon in mid-January. And take care. I'll see you on the next video. Maybe. Transition out of here. Okay, bye, guys.